Welcome to the YU podcast.
Why you have what you need inside of you.
I'm Brandon Yarbrough.
And I'm Jamila Yarbrough.
We are filmmakers, producers, entrepreneurs, husband and wife, parents, and owners of Yarbrough Studios and the Yet Network.
Together, we have shepherded countless projects to completion and are committed to helping others bring their visions to life.
Along this journey, we have had many ups and downs, but one of the greatest lessons we've learned is what we needed was inside of us all along.
Join us as we uncover why you have what you need inside of you.
Welcome to the YU podcast. I'm Brandon Yarbrough.
I'm Jamila Yarbrough.
And we are here talking all things faith, family, and film. And why you can do it.
Yeah. Why you have what you need inside of you.
Why you have, I like that. that. We testing out an intro. And today we're going to be talking about how, or working together and why we work together. Jesus. No, a lot of couples. There's some couples that choose to work together.
Yeah.
A lot don't.
Yes.
And we're one that chose to work together and to build a legacy together.
Yes.
We're in the same field.
Yes.
We do the same things. You act, I act a fool. We both direct.
That's true.
We both direct, produce. You write, I scribble. So we in the same field.
Yeah.
But it's an honor and a pleasure to work with you on everything, even in the moments when
it's hard. I
get on your nerves and
oh.
Why you got that sticker on? It was so funny. That's
I'm
deep.
embarrassed.
Don't be embarrassed, Whitney. For those that are just listening, she just bought a shirt and left a sticker on the shirt and just peeled it off. So, but anyways, we're just talking about working together. Let's kick this off. So I kind of want to start with how we met. I think we met working together.
You think, or did we? We did. We did. We met working together. I was acting in a film called Questions.
Mm-hmm. Go see it. It's on Amazon Prime and Apple TV.
Yes. So I was acting in a film and you were assistant directing.
I was assistant director. Yep.
Yeah. And we were just both in two different places at the time. So we were
different situations.
Right. I was just getting out of something. I think you was in something.
Mm-hmm. And she was actually there the day you were shooting.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? This is the first time you shared that.
That's so funny.
You never shared that.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
Listen, I don't remember.
That's funny. I didn't know that. Yeah, we were just in two very, very different places.
Mm-hmm.
So we worked,
for 2 days.
And that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward to a couple years later, I was producing a show that I had written and was in. And all my assistant directors that I normally reached out to were not available.
I wasn't even on the list.
He wasn't.
Not even on the list.
He wasn't on the list. But I remembered you. And then I reached out to a mutual friend of ours.
Shout out to Derek Brady.
Who produced the film we worked on and asked him about you. And he was like, man, he's amazing. He just couldn't say, and he just went on and on about how great you are. So,
what can you say?
So I was like, if Derek says he's cool, then he's cool. So we reached out to you, myself and the director, and then we met.
Yeah. And at that time, I wasn't trying to assistant direct anymore.
You were done.
And, but I knew who you were. And when you reached out, I was like, oh, okay, Jamila Biggs. I was like, okay, let me see what she's talking about. And I just came back from a trip to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And you emailed me literally maybe the day I was coming back or the day after, something like that. And I was like, all right, let me see. And I sat with you and Desmond and I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. Let me do this. Let me do this project. This will be the last time I assistant direct. Wasn't the last time, but we can get into that later. But yeah, I had a great time working on a project. We shot for did we shoot for a month or for a week?
We shot for a month.
Oh, wow, it was a long time.
Yes.
14 days or something, or it was the whole month. Listen.
Or maybe it wasn't a month. Maybe it was 14 days.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. We've done a lot of projects, but it was for an extended amount of time.
Yeah. But 14 days in the indie world can take a month. Mm-hmm. You know, you shoot a few days here and a few days there.
But we shot back to back.
I understand. I remember I was there. I was just trying to clarify that 14 days in the indie field. I think Questions, we only shot 14 days, but it took us 3 months to shoot those 14 days.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, we shot back on track. we shot your project, and towards the end of that time, I would catch you staring at me.
That is not true.
That is true. I would catch you.
That's the story he likes to
No, that's the truth. I would catch you staring at me. I'm like, why is she looking at me? And I thought she was with some other dude, and nah, she just kept staring at me.
No, so he would conveniently always sit so after each day, myself and him, as well as the director and the DP, would need to sit down and like go over the shot list and everything for the next day. And so he would always sit at the only space where there was one seat left. Always.
And it just so happened that you would sit next to me.
Because there was nowhere else to sit.
Oh, okay.
He would conveniently.
You would conveniently not find a seat before I sat down.
And, so I was waiting to sit?
Yeah, you were waiting for me to sit down.
So
that's funny.
So after we wrapped, we did. So I think it was towards the end of shooting that we both began to kind of see each other, not romantically, but just kind of really see each other.
Oh, she's cool.
Yeah. And so actually after we wrapped, was your birthday. Mm-hmm. And
well, yeah. Right
oh no, you went to New York, right? And then we talked. No, we talked. So after we wrapped, it was really, really late, and you had to drive to the airport or something. I was like, I'll talk to you on the phone just to keep you awake. And then you went to New York, and then you were sending me pictures from New York.
Yeah.
I was like, And so then when you got back, the first time we hung out was at church. So for whatever reason, I know it was definitely a reason, but God kept telling me, like, invite him to church. I'm like, but we didn't even talk about, we didn't have any faith-based conversations really or anything. And so, but I did anyways, and it was the night before your birthday. And you say, yeah. I was like, he's just probably going to dismiss this text. And you're like, yeah, I'd love to come. And you came, and you've been going to the church ever since.
That's right.
And then that next day was your birthday. And we were supposed to hang out with the DP to celebrate your birthday, but it just
decided to skip town. And it
just ended up being us.
Yeah, and we hung out the entire day from sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
That was a long time.
We did. Well, it wasn't quite so, but we went to lunch.
Yep.
And then went to an arcade. Wait, no, wine tasting. We went to an arcade. Yep. We went to
dinner. Yeah, and that was a long day.
Yeah. And then we've just been talking ever since.
Yeah, talking. Then we started dating. And then within the dating, we decided, hey, let's try to work together on some stuff. And that was a process.
Right.
Definitely a process to, you're used to doing one thing
Yes.
a certain way by yourself, and now you're dating someone, not necessarily, not even in marriage yet, but even in dating.
Right.
You want to include the other person, but that person has a completely different way of working and is figuring out how to bring the two worlds together.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
I
that
will
was
say one of the things that I always um, loved about you, even when you were working on that first project that we worked on together, um, that you AD'd for
hmm
me,
hmm
was the way I felt like you were such a strong leader, but how you led with kindness and
mm,
how the way you served our vision,
yeah,
and you were strong and firm, but you were also so kind and loving in the way you um ran the set.
mm,
And that really stood out. And one of the things that I, now looking back and I see now, it was showing me the way you lead. And you are a great leader, a leader of this household,
yes,
and you, the way you lead is the way you serve was so beautiful to me.
mm,
How committed you were to serving and honoring the vision, but leading with love, but still being firm,
hmm hmm
and still commanding the space.
yep,
And I thought that was great.
that's great.
And I thought that was it was actually, I didn't know then, but it was an indication. I was seeing how you would be as a leader in our family
Yes,
as well.
yes,
Um, but you're right. We learned a lot through dating and then marriage. It was while working together.
yeah, yeah. So we
A
did
lot.
we did 1, 2 projects while we were dating,
Mhm.
um, and both were really fun.
Mhm.
Both were really fun. Just learned
We had to learn how to communicate.
right.
We had to learn, even in the process of dating, it's just, letting go of insecurities,
hmm
and also learning how to prioritize the other,
Yeah.
you know, um, how to support each other's visions. Because it wasn't always, we just had to learn,
hmm
you know.
Yeah, and what the other required.
Mhm.
Learning what the other required for whatever it is.
Yeah,
Like you said, communication was key. But we got through it.
we did. And so one of the things that I think is can be the path that we've chosen can be very demanding, and when you take a project on, it's very consuming. And there were times early on in our relationship where I felt like that you were more invested in others than mine, than the things that I was doing. And I think one of the things that was so big was you shifting that to not only communicate but put action towards, like, no, I'm invested in your vision, you know. And I think that was one of the things that you've carried into our marriage, is making sure that you are, in a huge way, making sure that you are pushing, you are actively supporting me, and I think that's something that we have learned for each other, that I think we try to do for each other, is actively support. But that was an area that we struggled through when we were dating.
Yeah, we definitely both learned. I learned how to communicate with you and how to support your what you wanted and your visions and your projects and the things that you were doing, and show you actively, how to support, or that I support you, instead of um, thinking that it's a given. In my mind, I think, oh, it's a given. We together, yeah. I support you, but you need that action.
Yeah.
You know,
Like we say, like, love is a verb, to action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then another area, though, even once because one of the things that to me that was interesting once we got married is that you wear so many hats, but you didn't have any projects of your own,
Mm-hmm.
Yet.
Mm-hmm.
That you had, or at least that were scripted, that were,
Mm-hmm.
and and that was another time where we had to learn how to work together because it was clear to me, like, oh man, this man is a genius. Like, he should have his own film, or and he can wear all these hats, and so it was another way of learning how to support you, because it's one thing to be like, no, do it,
Right.
but having to understand, okay, if I'm too aggressive, that's actually not going to support him in the way he needs. I have to give him space, and then but I still have to kind of push it because, just having to learn how the other needs to how the other needs to be supported, because the way I might need it is not necessarily how you need
Completely different.
And in that process of doing your film, just learning how we work very differently,
right?
And how and being able to respect the way the other works.
Absolutely. You like to get it out. You gonna push it until it comes. I'll just take a nap.
Yeah.
And in the nap, it's already written. And I've actually been doing that for a long time. And even in editing, if I'm working on a project or something and I can't figure it out, I'll just go to sleep.
Yeah.
I'll go to sleep and
but
take a drink or dream it.
Yeah.
And then wake up with the solution.
But one of the things I will say, though, is that I think one of the reasons why, because we do complement each other in some ways, like you said, I will keep pushing. And one of the things that is good for me to know to do is also to rest. One of the things that I think is good for you sometimes too is to keep pushing. And so I think that's a way in which we've had to learn and grow from each other, in order to go further.
That's right.
And so it's like respecting how the other works and operates, how they need to be supported, but also knowing that there's a reason why we're together and that we can push each other to go a little further, and then having to be willing to accept that push.
That's key. If you're not willing. I mean, for a while, I wasn't willing. Right. And for a while, you weren't willing. You was always willing?
When was I? You, baby. Now you used to be real honest about that.
We both were stubborn. I'm stubborn. You know what? I'm not gonna speak for you. I speak for me. You just did, though. I speak for me. I was definitely very, very stubborn. Even in writing, when we were working on the project that we wrote together, and
that's still a work in progress.
Yeah. Well, the project, but we finished a draft and we have to go back and look at it again. We got so many other things on the board, but it's number 1, 2, 3, 4. It's number 5 on the board, but we'll get to it. I was stubborn, but we worked through it. We got through it. It was a lot of prayer on your part, I'm sure. God, why is this man so stubborn? Shift his heart, and then God shift my heart.
Yeah, he did. He really did. It's interesting because what's so interesting is that the writing has been the hardest area for us to come together and do. That was the area of most resistance for us, and that was hardest for us to come together and move forward. And even after we finished that draft,
listen, we finished the draft.
And we was like, all right.
We finished the draft.
We need a break, like a whole long break.
A year and a half, almost 2-year break.
Yeah, right.
It was before Zuri was born.
It was, right. It's been
we finished, but then we shot a whole movie.
Yes.
And I've been editing that movie.
Yes.
And you've been doing other things.
Writing other things.
And writing other things.
But what I'm saying is that it's interesting because even the way that we work together on set is like completely opposite.
Yeah.
It's so much ease and flow,
Right.
and it's actually, I love it.
Yeah.
It's really wonderful.
You know what I've learned? You just do what Jamila says and everything will be great.
That's not true.
It's not true. It's a funny joke, though. Well, you know that saying, they say, happy wife, happy life, you know?
But that's not true either.
Yeah, it is.
I
When
mean,
you happy, I'm
because
happy.
I'm about to say, you need to be happy too, bruh. We need to both be
Yeah,
happy.
when you're happy, I'm happy.
We need to both be happy.
Nah, but we did overcome the writing. But you just spoke on us working together and co-directing the movie and co-producing the movie, and another example of I'm not gonna. I was about to toot my own horn. I was gonna say another example of me supporting your vision and your work. But
that's real.
Yeah.
No, that to me, that was it was a big sacrifice doing the movie. We used our own money.
Yeah.
We used money that we had for
you. Yeah, you wasn't trying. I said, let's just do it. Every time you came, I said, let's do it.
I know, and I was so just to back up a little bit. So this is a movie that is based on a series, a digital series on Issa Rae's channel. We had 2 seasons of it. It ended on the channel after the second season, but we had TV development deal, and it just stalled for a while, and so we took it somewhere else, and same thing. And eventually, myself and Issa's team, we decided to make it into a movie. And for a long time, it looked like we had investors. It looked like just the pieces were starting to come together. But then again, it began to stall and stall. And one day it was actually in prayer. God said, I gave you the grace to do it. You always had the grace to do it. And the series itself started in a similar way to which we've done the movie. It was self-financed.
Yep.
We had to do it ourselves. And my hope was that the film wouldn't have to be that way, because it is a big sacrifice. But when God says go, listen,
you can't hesitate.
It's time to go. And but you did, even before that point, you were like, let's do it. Let's do it. You were so already ready to do it. And it was less about shooting a movie and more about you wanting to see this into completion for me.
That's the truth.
You really wanted me to be able to see this into completion. And just the way in which you supported my vision, and you were just like, yes, let's go. Let's go. We can do it. It's done.
I literally, as the time was happening, and you're going through other means of trying to get it done. All I can just think of, I was just envisioning you later in life, and if it didn't happen, it would have been like a regret, a woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Right.
And I was like, no, we can't do that. I can't have that. We gotta do it. We gotta do it. So,
and my God, that's such a blessing to have a husband, to have you support me in that way. It's huge.
Yeah,
it really is. And wow, yeah, it's huge.
Right.
And it's really just exciting, for us, for this also to be our first feature.
Yeah.
Through our company. Our daughter was 1 when we were in production.
Yes.
And she's been with us on this journey,
And even working on the film and doing it together was a confirmation. Even on set, we'll have another. We'll talk about it later in another episode. But just the time that we had on set, now not only working together, but the other people as well, and seeing us work together and how we work together. There was a comment made by somebody, and they were just in awe of how well we work together. They've been on other sets that other people didn't necessarily work as well together, and yeah, it's just beautiful to hear, just to be an example as
Mm-hmm.
well. And we just living our life trying to figure it out. But in that,
Yes.
we're setting a tone and an
Yes.
example for the others that were unsaid that may be striving to one have a spouse or even a spouse to work with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, it's just it was wonderful to see.
And it's interesting how now thinking back to some of those early lessons, even when we were dating,
Hmm.
help prepare us for
Right.
working together now,
Yeah.
and being able to support each other's visions
Yes.
now, where it's like it's a no-brainer
Hmm.
now. It's not, so I think it's great to be able to look back and see, even the tough times in which we had to figure out while we were writing things together on how to
Hmm.
communicate better,
Right.
how to support each other, even if you're not seeing eye to eye on something,
Hmm.
Um, I think all of that has helped to even us being able to work so well together
Hmm.
on set and even in post production. We work,
Yeah, that was a whole different story. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
and
We work pretty well together on
yeah,
post productions. Um, I had to release some of the things I wanted. And just understanding that yes, we are co-directors, but this is your baby. This is something that God gave you 7 years ago, and for me, really relying on you. But then we did work
right. And I was
collaboratively
gonna
together.
say, on the other hand, I had to let go too of some of the things that I was kind of like, no,
Yeah.
that I was envisioning to
Hmm.
be able to be a collaborator,
Yeah.
because I think when we do that, it just becomes better when we work together.
Right.
It can become better. And
And that's in anything. You don't have to be in a marriage or relationship for that. We're talking about that now, but in any, if in a friendship, a business relationship, even working on, in a film together. That's why you have 1,000 credits at the end of a film because everybody has worked together.
in some films,
And so, and
we don't have
our,
quite 1,000.
our film has 50 credits. Not,
um, but yes, I think that all of it played a part in us
yeah,
being able to work so well together. And honestly, it was a joy.
yeah,
It was a joy to be on set. It was
it
a
was a lot
joy
of
to
fun.
work with you. Like, it really was. And even to have people come up, our we had people come up to us on crew in tears saying they had never been on a set like
Yeah.
ours before because we saw them, we valued them, which is crazy to me.
Hmm.
They had been mistreated
And
before
these are people that have been doing this
for a long
for a long
time.
time, and that are great at what they do, and it's crazy to even think that folks will mistreat these people.
Right.
How giving and caring and loving they are, and collaborative, and
Yes.
how great they are at their craft. Not only at their craft, but they're just great people.
Yeah.
We had the people that we had working on. They were
They
just
were
good
amazing.
people. Really good people. And I really think it shines through in the film. I'm not biased. I'm not. No, it's a really good movie. Y'all go and check it out soon.
Go see it.
Um, yeah, and I really think the lessons, like you said, the lessons that we learned in the beginning, the genesis of us working together really helped us work together on the film, and that just gave us even more
Hmm.
confirmation, like, this is it. We are supposed to be doing this together. Uh,
And what I would say to someone who is either working with it could be spouse, it could be girlfriend, boyfriend, it
mhm.
could be working with someone in an intimate way. And um, what are you laughing
I
about?
was going to tell them how to not get on the other's nerves. Give them
Yeah.
a tip.
Well, I would say, the more experience does help
Yeah.
to learn. But I think what is key is not only just seeing what the others doing wrong, but taking those moments to self-assess And if you can't see it yourself, one of the things that helps will help me, you know, when I talk to God and I'm like, Lord, help me see me
Mm-hmm.
in this,
That's right.
you know, and there are other tools that can help you to self-assess.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, you know, it's really important when you're bumping heads, not to just look at the other person
Right.
and just harp on what they're doing or not doing, but also try to improve yourself
Yeah.
and see where you can be,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where you can be at fault at you know, some of the friction.
Yeah. No, I think for me it's prayer, but then like you said, like that's self-assessing. But in my prayer, I pray for myself first. Like God help me,
Yeah.
and then help this person.
Right.
Help
No,
you
it's
know
good.
help Jamila, you know, or whatever it is, you know. Even when you're in a relationship, the other person sees something in the other person that you may not necessarily see. So she sees things about me that I don't see,
Right.
and vice versa.
Absolutely.
And instead of going to her, me going to her and Yarbrough, yeah, harping on that thing, and you know, going direct at her, saying you blah 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 blah. I just take it to God and let God deal with it, because it'll be quicker than me opening my
Yeah.
mouth and saying things.
And sometimes, you know, like we said, communication is important. So, but one of my things is I realize is not to be quick to jump to a fence, one, and take whatever it is personally,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but to first try to take a step back, look at me. But also if it's something for him, it's like, okay, how can I pray for him and how can I help him in this area versus being offended by how it affected me, you know? I think that's really important. And in patience,
Oh,
things don't change overnight.
patience.
Patience is real. We may even have some moments where it seems like, dang, this is getting worse first, you know? But but we are testimonies of living proof that it can shift.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, even when earlier when you were like, I was just stubborn, you know,
Yeah.
and literally that shift, I saw it shift.
Yes.
You know, it took time,
A long time,
but it shift into a point where I think we were both surprised how we could come together. Right. So,
yeah.
you know,
it's funny. I think we laughed at the end of it. Like it's when this is back to the writing. When we were writing that thing at first, it was like two bulls bumping heads. I mean, we're both very strong-willed, and I'm stubborn. I can't speak for you.
I can be.
Oh, you can.
I can be.
Oh, Jesus, I didn't know.
And very clear.
Wow.
On what it is. I see.
Crystal clear.
Very clear.
I didn't say that. You did. Once we got through it, and that time had passed, and we picked the thing back up, it was so effortless and easy to get through first draft of that project. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yes.
And it was super easy, and we laughed at the end of it.
Yes.
You know, and we're like, well, why was this so hard before?
Right.
You know, but
and we actually did work. We worked on something else after that. I just remembered.
Huh? We did.
Did.
We wrote something else?
We didn't write it. We plotted it out.
Right.
You don't remember.
I don't remember.
But cool. Yeah, and it was real simple and fun.
Really? Did we shoot it? Is
it
on the board?
We haven't shot it yet.
Is it on the board?
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, we plotted that out together?
We did.
Oh.
We did. We sure did.
When we're not on set working together, we have day-to-day stuff that we're doing, and
every day.
Yeah. And we have a 2-year-old that is home with us.
Yes.
And we're just finding balance.
Yes.
In that, you know, so we've decided to, you know, you have your time sometimes. And I have my time most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah. But it's necessary for for right now how our business is running.
Yeah, so find and balance whatever works for you.
Right.
That's my last tip.
So, yes, find and balance. And being open to it evolving, it changing. I think also both partners need to be able to communicate what they need, and I think that was big for us because at one point I wasn't getting the time that I get now, but I had to express that.
Yes.
And you heard me when I expressed it. And it was a sacrifice. Honestly, like the way in which we work is a sacrifice on both parts. We easily could take the whole day and then some to both do what we need to do. And we also have, as you said, a toddler at home. And so just figuring out how to make that work so that we both are not only productive, but we're also in a good space.
Yeah.
We're also both able to do what we need to do, both at work as well as just taking care of ourselves.
Yeah.
And we feel good about it. And so in order to do that, I do think it is necessary for both people to communicate. This is what I need.
Yeah.
In order to do this, and then figure out what sacrifices can be made to accomplish that. And one thing I appreciate, in our journey, like you heard me when I said I have to have that time.
Right.
And also, I think it's easy in the day-to-day to get focused on certain things, but not, just the way our company is how our responsibilities. My responsibilities more so for development and other projects that would come down the pipeline. And we just have to make sure we're not so focused on the day-to-day that we don't lose the bigger picture as well. And that's a bigger thing too, outside of just our company, but as in our relationship and in our family, that we don't get lost in just the day-to-day, that we're not also working towards the bigger picture, and that means, and as you mentioned, balance, that means taking the time for ourselves to feed ourselves, spiritually, and doing the things that you and I need to do, to make sure that we're not just working together, but we're also having fun together.
Right.
We're still dating. We're still, enjoying married life. You know what I'm saying?
Sex.
Babe, why did you... I mean, that's part of married life, but
that's what you was talking about.
No, I wasn't. Why did you do that? You did that just for my reaction. That's exactly... All right, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for tuning in, wherever you're tuning in from, for the YU podcast presented by Yarbrough Studios. I'm Brandon Yarbrough.
And I'm Jamila Yarbrough.
Follow us everywhere. You can follow us at Yarbrough Studios. Follow me on Instagram and everything. Follow Jamila. I'm at Mr. Yarbrough.
I'm at Jamila B. Yarbrough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Follow us and grow with us.
Please. All right, y'all. Thank you.